Okay, everyone, we're live, so just for your awareness. How's that look?
Well, it's right. So we've missed something there. Yeah, something hasn't translated very well. Slide 5. It's PowerPoint for you. It's been mangled. I mean, I can share it from my screen. It's not a problem.
Fixed it.
Yeah, we've lost some content, but it's fine. I can talk through what we've lost.
Okay, people coming in, I guess. Faisal. Faisal, are you logged in as a speaker? Okay. Good evening, all. Yeah, Tyler, excellent.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, good evening.
Good morning.
Welcome. Yeah,
Happy Friday.
absolutely, and it is. It's a very happy Friday for all of us here at Mpowa. So, welcome. I'm going to start the session now. Obviously, expecting a lot more people to join, but we've got a lot of stuff to get through today. So, welcome everyone to the launch for the Mpowa Decarbonizer product. It's been a long road getting here. Some of you are all aware that have been involved in the project, but I'm Lavelle, the founder of Mpowa, and I started this journey back in June of 2019 on the back of another startup I was involved with, also in blockchain, called Lancor Scientific. And back at that time, the intention really was to tackle some of the pressing environmental, social problems in the world, really around the area of energy scarcity. So I took the learnings from the previous startup, Lancor, and we created an initial concept of a decentralized energy grid, and successfully applied to the S Delft AI blockchain validation laboratory in Holland, where I was living at the time. And that was an interesting experience. So it took 3 months to take the idea through the full incubation and product market fit testing, which was reasonably successful. And through the course of that, I met some interesting what would become future partners, working on disruptive technologies. And from there, we sort of went into hardware and trying to develop physical energy systems and kind of deep tech innovation, which is a really complex, difficult area requiring a lot of funding, a lot of expertise. And we struggled on for a year with that sort of that concept, the decentralized energy grid. And it's always been the long term vision of the company to veer into that space. So energy scarcity obviously is the number one issue in emerging markets. Many of the problems these countries face is down to lack of a reliable and clean source of energy. And of course, we're all aware of the larger problems in the world today around climate change and carbon intensity. So as we went along the journey with our idea, we took some learnings along the way. And after about a year and a half of trying to get something off the ground with this sort of hardware tech, we took a strategic pivot, decided to focus more on building a software ecosystem platform, which would kind of enable us to move faster to market and realize our ambitions, really our dreams as a business, to create an ecosystem really to empower these sort of disruptive technologies, rather than the sort of being the hardware developer ourselves. So then enter Decarbonizer about a year ago. We did a bit of sort of internal sort of discussion and branding on how we wanted to call this product, and our Chief Product Officer Jason came up with a brilliant title, Decarbonizer. And we're going to go through that today in terms of where we are with the product and where it's going, and what the vision is to get some traction in the market with this platform. I'd like to thank the team. I'd like to thank our partners, everyone who's contributed to get us here. It's been a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights from many people, and it's not been an easy journey like all startups. So I'd like to thank everyone for their hard work, and obviously also the Africa team, people on the ground who really the ones dealing with these issues day to day, and will ultimately be the ones driving this vision forward. So it's for them that we're striving here to to make a better world. So thanks all for listening. I'm going to hand over to my Chief Product Officer Jason to demo the product.
Good. You'll need to mute Ryan because I'm going from my computer. Thanks. We're both sitting in my study. I'm just reclining on my sofa. Ryan's going to sleep on that tonight once I convert it to a sofa bed, because we're going to go out for a curry and some beers anyway to hopefully celebrate this evening and reaching a bit of a milestone. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit about the Decarbonizer product, sort of what it does, and also do a bit of demo around it, and also just show a little bit around the roadmap. So shall I share my screen, Ryan, rather than you yours? Is that what we're doing? Right, gotcha. Good. Lots of hand signals going on, so just bear with me. Right. Back in that browser window. Share content. Share screen. Good. Entire screen. Share. Good. All right. So you've got picture within picture there, which is a bit trippy. But I'm going to... Whoa, look at that. Right, now my little thing... Hide. Yeah, go away. was just over the top of what I wanted to show. Right, I'm just going to put that into presentation mode. Right, so Decarbonizer. Right, okay. As it says there, it's a user-friendly and decentralized application that provides access to social impact projects. So I'm just going to sort of talk about sort of how it works. And I think a bit of the why is going to come from Ryan, and we need to sort of amplify that sort of storyline a little bit, and we'll do that afterwards. But I'm the guy who talks about the sort of the what and how we do it. So, just quick overview. Here's the app. You can see the home screen there. We're going to show you a demo in a minute, or at least a video of a demo that I recorded earlier today. So it's easy to participate in, and our sort of focus for early adopters is going to be around clean tech. So people are very much interested in sort of the disruptive technology, but also who have got a strong urge to get into social impact projects. So there's a real sort of, the Venn diagram is those people, right? The sort of the tech lovers who also, want to do some good. I think that's really going to drive the sort of adoption. We focus very clearly on them in some of our messaging. So one of the key benefits for people is that they can influence project direction. So it's not a fact of, just sort of firing and forgetting. And I'll go through that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. You can also monitor your impact. So the idea is that you don't just put the money in and maybe where it goes. That would be a good thing if you knew where it was going and you could get that sort of feedback. You could also get sort of real-time feedback and monitoring of that impact, and you get updates from people and communities you're impacting as well. So that's just a few top line things there. Underneath the screen, there's a lot happening actually, and we think about this as a sort of two-sided marketplace, right? So you've got your impactor, so that's the person who's buying what we call impact tokens, essentially putting some money in, and they're either going to do what we say buy pure impact, which is basically sort of just putting money in and what you might do sort of traditionally where you're giving to charity, and then in the future, as we progress forward on the roadmap, there's also about funding projects for some sort of financial return, in addition to the social impact that you get as well. So that's a bit further down the line. We wanted to start with the pure social impact initially. So this person votes on projects, so they put money in, and they also get in line with their money they're putting in. They get to vote on the direction of how projects go, and they get to choose where their money goes, and they get to track the progress. On the other side, you've got impacted, right? So these are people, not necessarily in Africa in the long term, but that's where we're starting, who get the benefit of not only the technology, but the donations around energy and water and regenerative agriculture, right? So it's all stuff that's got a positive impact, certainly in terms of sustainability, and usually some sort of carbon positive aspect as well, so or carbon negative ultimately. What they can do as well also on their side, they're not just people receiving benefit. The idea is to sort of create some link between the two, so you've got sharing of updates and info on how projects are benefiting as well. So we're going to build some of that functionality in as we go forward, and right in the middle is the really interesting stuff. It's like what this app does is it holds a lot of power basically in terms of what we're integrating, right? So not only are there project developers, the people who are actually sort of scouting and finding these projects in these various categories. There's also, this aspect of governance there as well. So we're using a sort of DAO or sort of distributed autonomous organization or democratic autonomous organization style structure for some of the sort of voting, and where you direct your funds. We're looking at working, and we are working with NGOs, government agencies and charities as well. But also we're blending that with, some in the future with some structured funding where it comes to sort of maybe getting some return on investment. But also we've got our heroes on the ground. So there's that team and network we've got there. There's a carbon exchange where we've already lined up to plug in terms of getting some sort of payback for some of those sort of carbon offset. And there's some stuff around measurement and reporting and verification as well, which is basically making sure that we can really, we can stand by what we're doing here. And there's somebody who's an external validator who can also evidence that what we're doing is right and has been counted in the right way. All of that is sort of blended in, and that's what powers Decarbonizer. So that's that's really sort of in a nutshell the two-sided, in fact, it's a multi-sided marketplace, if you like, around sustainability and disruptive technology. We think that's really exciting. But why should I use it? So, as a sort of consumer in the street initially, and there is a sort of pro version later for business as well. And we believe it's because it's designed for emotional connection. So, how am I going to sort of feel about using this? What do I think at the moment, and what do I need? So, there's some of the pain points that people have around some charity giving or impact investing at the moment. I'm not suggesting it's all bad. It's just there are some, points of friction and things that people want to fix. So sometimes, if you're looking at impact investing, there's really a sort of lack of clear sort of ROI or return on impact that's for people. And we put all of this together through doing quite significant desk research and a little bit of primary research. There's also no real clear evidence of sustainable long-term impact. That this governance isn't clear for people when they're putting money into, either of the sort of forms we've gone through there, whether it's sort of charity or impact investing. There's been, in the past few years, been a bit of a concern from some people in the street about sort of reputation as well. And I don't need to go through the examples, and also sort of lack of transparency. So if I'm putting my money in, do I really get a clear view of where that's going and what impact it's having? But also, can I also get some updates? Is it reaching the right place? And also this concern, I think, over sort of, is all of my money going to benefit people, or is there an overhead, or is there some sort of inefficiency? So these are some of the sorts of pain points we picked up when we did our research. And then what is the sort of motivation for people? Well, people give and they invest because it makes them feel good, but ultimately they do want to return. It's got to be in line with your personal brand, or your personal sense of mission and values. But also you take it personally. Also, if you've got some sort of connection to the cause. So, for example, if you're part of the African diaspora, out of Africa, you may want to invest in things because you want to sort of return some benefit back to the people in Africa, for example. That's just one single use case. But also people like to be part of something, feel like they're part of a movement. And what do they need? So they need trust, they need transparency, they need evidence of impact, they need a very understandable ask, and also clear usability. And these aren't, items we've made up. This was through the research. These really came out very clearly in some of the research we ran. And actually, that's why the app is designed to do what it does. And we've sort of iterated it and refined it to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a Decarbonizer demo. I'm going to talk through this. This was a video I took earlier, and this has been sort of put together very recently. Today, in fact, after we've been doing some sort of testing and snagging of the alpha release. So I'm just going to try and find that. So bear with me. You'll be seeing bits of my desktop at the moment. I think this is it. So call out if you can't see it. I'm just going to hopefully can I maximize that? No, that's it. You can see my Finder window behind that, but try and concentrate in the middle rather than everything else. So this is a demo of the app, which is a live app. This is not just a design. And Louis and Jay from Carbon Code have been helping us with this. So we've got social sign-on all working now. So if you've got Google or Facebook account, very frictionless, good usability. You just sign up, you continue, logs you in seamlessly. So thanks very much, Louis and Jay, for getting that sorted. That was so quick. It's great, isn't it? It's really good to see this now. So it might be a little bit choppy because obviously it's a video and it's streaming. So here's a bit about our mission. You just saw the homepage there. You can read about the mission. You can see on the homepage there's some info about projects and heroes. This is the screen in which and this is real data, right? Some of the data down below is a bit of dummy data, but we've got projects in Uganda, Kenya, and South Africa. And we're just going to explore a little bit. So we can look at, I think we looked at Adoko water, or was it a million trees rather, next, but let's have a look. And I'm sorry if anyone who's on the call, I haven't featured your stuff. So here you go. Here's a project. So we look at where the UN SDGs are in scope for that particular project. There's some info about it. So how many households are impacted? This is another one here. I think this is this is Life on Land, Climate Action, Zero Hunger. So I think that's the Million Trees project, actually. Here are a couple of projects from Kenya there. So we've got our household sustainable farming project there. Let's have a look at that. So there you go. That's really a Zero Hunger project. We just need to work on some of the the imagery being a bit darker. That's one of our heroes there. That's a real guy, Michael Deborah. And here's South Africa now. So we've just managed to get South Africa added into the app at the moment. And here you go. Here's a project. So this is Durban Eco Farms, which Nick Snaith there, you can see his mugshot, is running for us. So there you go. And you can see the SDGs, which are included there. So what we're also doing is we're looking at building the subscription into this. So this is the sort of subscription page for when you go from sort of freemium to premium, with some selling messages and all sorts of different plans there. So you can see the different sort of monthly subscription plans, which we're working on a model for at the moment. Some of that is just sort of dummy information because we're looking at what really is going to be the right sort of price point for that. There are some FAQs in the app at the moment. It's quite basic. We're adding for that too. And then a bit around how it works. So you can see there's the sort of shell of the app and sort of how it works. And I think I logged out at the end of that. So a very quick demo just to sort of give you a bit of an overview of sort of how it works. And there you go. Very happy to take some questions after I've just gone through a little bit more around the roadmaps. And what I'm going to do is just and even do a sort of slightly slower length demo if necessary. Unfortunately, I can't share my screen from my phone using this Run the World account, but let's just throw this into presentation mode again. And here you go. So we've just had the demo, very quick, whippy one. And yeah, again, thanks very much, Jay and Louis, for your excellent, mega responsiveness and professionalism in helping us put this together. It's a real app. It's got a great content management system behind it, and every time we put some more content in it, you see it get updated immediately. So it's really cool. So you've seen a bit more around the sort of the shell of the app and the subjects and stuff. There is some stuff that we've commented out, and that means it's not features on the screen. So actually start funding this project now is a very big feature in there. So we've actually just removed that right now because we don't have some of the sort of subscription and wallet functionality built in. It's all designed, but that's next on the roadmap. So you can see that the subscription, wallet and donation thing. There's a bit around sort of user account profile management. We're going to set up some hero profiles with blogs, video blogs, this sort of stuff, so they can talk about the projects they're running. We've got a bit of a deep dive on the strategic development goals, because you would have seen a few little sort of lozenges in the app that talk about which strategic development goals or which focus areas there are for SDGs for each of those particular projects. And then what we want to do is also put in some partner profiles around those organizations that we're collaborating with. So, for example, Tom, we want to do a profile on Equal Aqua. There's a Solvatin technology we use as well, so we want to do that bit on some of the other partners we're working with. This is not an exhaustive list. And then going forward from there, I think, and we've got to work out whether this goes into beta. I think maybe the sort of league tables and communities is something we add in a bit later, but stuff like, for example, being a bit sort of social and gamified. So the more users we get involved, the more we like to show who's donating where and who's sort of leveled up and got to a certain stage in terms of their donation and their contribution. And then we want to sort of do a few features on some of the sustainable technology we're using on the project so people can learn a little bit more about it. There's going to be in the future also a lot of around sort of building communities and social, but I think that's going to grow a little bit organically as we sort of test and learn. We don't want to overload this too much until we've got it out there and actually we're sort of testing live and really understanding what's making people tick and where their heads are at as well, and run some more user research to give us some insights there. So that's the sort of Decarbonizer consumer app and the sort of roadmap to beta, and sort of what we're going to do in terms of adding some more functionality and getting that properly out in the wild rather than in a sort of closed group. And then we've got this Decarbonizer Pro, which we've started designing. So that, as you can see, it's more likely to be a sort of iPad or desktop type app. So everything that's in Decarbonizer at the moment, but also, it's going to have a bit of a different bias, really. So, with the business audience, there's a sort of need for us to ask them to help us kickstart some of the projects, and they'll get an NFT, a non-fungible token, in return, and Ryan could talk about some of the details around that. Also, we want to put business profiles in as well. So what is, for example, we've been talking to EY recently around whether we could potentially work with them. That would be great for any of those large organizations to get some presence on the app as well, and that's good for their profile. There's also, and this is quite a key use case, in terms of external impact, detailed reporting functionality. So whether that's just basic SDG impact, you can see an example of how we do that there on that design mock-up, but also what's their carbon offset, what is the impact in terms of how you measure that in the standard form, which is the EU taxonomy, other reporting frameworks as well, which is starting to really become sort of the standard that we really need to think about incorporating here. Also, would it make sense for, some of the sort of bigger partners who come on board from a sort of B2B perspective also to start thinking about, proposing projects themselves? That could be quite interesting. Also, the sense of, maybe some of the people within some of those big businesses, or big or small, getting involved in mentorship of some of the project participants, or the people who are benefiting from the projects, and also being sponsored in some way. There's also the sense also that we could also put maybe something around an employee volunteer scheme into this as well. So for a large corporate who has an employee sort of days off scheme where employees can go and help in their community, this could be an option for them, and something we want to promote through potentially the Pro app. And then there's finally, and this is really interesting, because actually, I came up with this idea about 9 months ago, the sort of employee flex benefit solution, where you have a salary sacrifice, and actually in return for that, you can donate something to a cause of your choice. Now, actually, there's another organization who's just launched a very similar thing in the past 6 weeks or so. I can't remember the name of them, but basically it allows you to carbon offset straight out of your salary. Basically, your employer takes that out at source, and that's very similar to what we conceived some time ago. And I think that could be something quite interesting. One of the last apps I designed before I joined the current company I'm doing a day job in, that's like 9 years ago, was Headspace, the meditation app. So I designed version 2, and actually, large organizations like Google, PwC, they put Headspace into their corporate benefits package. PwC did it when COVID hit, to give people, to help people with their sort of their well-being and their mental health. I think that's another opportunity for us, and especially if we're working with some of these large corporates. I said, we're already talking to EY. I know somebody at PA who could also potentially help us there in terms of sort of introductions and doing it themselves. So I think some of these are sort of more ideas. Some of them are, fundamentals in terms of building the functionality and the value in the app, but all interesting stuff, right? So that's sort of where we're going with that. And I think that's the final slide that I've got, just to talk about Decarbonizer. So I'm very happy to take any questions or run through some of the demo again if people wanted to ask anything. Right. Doesn't sound like we've got any questions, so that's good. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
You can your mic as well. So.
Yeah, just bear with me.
Awesome. Good presentation, Jay, as always. As hopefully you can all see, there's a lot still to do on this journey. We're just getting going. But still a significant milestone has been achieved with the alpha. So yeah, hats off to everybody, really. So next speaker I'd like to invite actually will be Tyler Penning. He's going to talk a bit about blockchain, DAO, and how that sort of relates to the Web3 space, and where Mpowa is looking to play in this space, and all of that. Hopefully, Tyler can take the mic.
I can take the mic. I'm still trying to do a couple things around the house for this morning for my aunt. But I think the best thing I could say is, there's not a better core team of founders looking to do the right things in this space from a compliancy perspective to apply distributed ledger tech, decentralized autonomous organization philosophy and governance, deploy non-fungible tokens in a multitude of formats to be able to utilize the Web3 tech stacks to extract as much value as possible and impact as many lives as possible, while innovating industry and trying to drive change and real good in the world. This entire space gets such a poorly painted lens on purpose. It's joked upon as if it wasn't designed and created by the powers that be, and is being manipulated to allow for the infrastructure globally to be deployed before it will be deemed okay. And I think it just really depends on the outlet you guys or anybody would look to validate what institutions, enterprises, three-letter agencies, and infrastructure providers are doing globally in any country to be able to help curb any biases that may exist. I heard Delatour, PwC. I've got my little claim to fame on LinkedIn over the last 12 months. I took my Fortune 500 background and 5-year kind of tenure observing the space and researching and participating across every lane to LinkedIn. And I created the first platform group around specifically DAOs. It's bled into Web3 generalities, but was specifically designed to be out in front of the emergence of decentralized autonomous organizations. I titled it Reorg, Rise of the DAO, around the idea of being able to reorganize human capital and the way we work together, transfer value via digital assets. And I figured if there was any better platform to do that on, it would be the platform of work and recruitment and the future of work as we know it, right? So with that group, I was able to strategically compound academics and heads of institutions from legacy industry, finance, infrastructure providers from the actual blockchain and Web3 industry, from Chainlink to Polygon, you name it, pretty much anybody and everybody that was a professional that was tenured on the platform looking to be viable for the long term. I've been able to connect with it and build out relationships with, and that's been a applied benefit for some of the stuff we're working on with Mpowa and some of the technologies and partnerships that we're looking to help bring to market that are very cutting edge and revolutionary, along with some of the best layer zeros and layer one infrastructure providers. So without getting too much more technical and deep, right? Like if I'm an investor sitting on the other side of this call, or somebody that's in a community looking to figure out where I could best align to participate, to really feel good about where I'm parking my value, my capital, my time, this would be the project, right? There's a lot of people that want to claim to do things, but there's people that have actually been doing things that sacrifice, that put in the work, that are provably here for the long term to do the right things and do them at scale. And that's why I'm here. I'm a part of this organization and support these guys, and I've pointed my resources and my efforts alongside them forward, because at the end of the day, like the way I see it is, all of these technologies are coming. They will be deployed at what scale and by who, and where first is really what it comes down to. And truly, without having to whip out my LinkedIn and my Telegram DMs and prove it, to anybody, I've aligned myself very well for the future. We can leave it at that. And if anybody, I don't know if there's a group chat in here, Ryan, but I'd love to post my LinkedIn and the group invitation link to be able to join Reorg and participate in these conversations. But I built the group to literally bulletproof the industry forward with the best doctoral, PhD, thought leader, innovators, plus tenured legacy industry that's looking to learn. And I'll tell you, they're there and they're looking to learn. I've got the head of PwC, Switzerland Metaverse is in there, sustainability, the head of Morgan Stanley, innovation for HSBC, head of South Korea Telecom, you name it. There's nuts people in there that are all looking to put their eyes on what the future of work looks like and how to best engage stakeholders across every avenue of any type of organization, whether it be philanthropic, whether it be investment oriented, whether it be enterprise grade, whether it be a combination of all the above, right? I think, again, we'll go back to this core team and the mission at hand and the people driving the value forward. You could feel very confident, in the people around it and the reasons why they're here and the tech that they're looking to deploy. So there's my hoorah.
Well, thank you very much, Tyler. It's great to hear that, and it's been great, knowing you, working with you in these last 6 months. Patiently as we've kind of steadily built this thing to this point. So great things to come as we go forward from here. So great to have you on the team. Next on the floor will be our South African Managing Director, Faisal Daniels. He's going to talk a bit more about the platform as seen from the perspective of the people, the beneficiaries are going to use it, the African diaspora, and people on the ground in these communities suffering from these issues. And Faisal and I met at a crypto event about it just over a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago now, where I was speaking a bit about the Mpowa vision. It was quite early days then, and I was so impressed by Faisal's talk about the unbanked and how crypto can empower people. We kind of synced up and had a few conversations, and that in the end led to me getting on a plane to South Africa for 3 months last summer, and doing a lot of the sort of groundwork with the sort of partners down there. So we go back a long way, and I'd really love to hear everything that Faisal has to say about what his perspective. Are you still there?
Hey, Ryan, the audio cut out just there. Did you call me or no? Me. Okay, great stuff. All right, good evening, everyone. This is a real crazy, amazing experience to be a part of this launch. I was asked to briefly talk about the blockchain, the NFTs, the decarbonizer, and what it means. So, of course, the blockchain's rationale, the stance, is that it brings bookkeeping into the 21st century, right? It's so funny that it took humanity at the height of what is called civilization more than 500 years to update or upgrade the double entry ledger system that was developed in 1494 by a Renaissance period friar called Luca Pacioli. But to jump forward a couple of centuries, why was it needed anyhow to upgrade that system of financial management, talking transactions, income, expenditure, savings, taxes, simple purchases like for bread and milk, and for airplanes, of course. For me personally, if it wasn't for Satoshi Nakamoto, it would have had someone else, because if something is broken, it can only work for so long, right? I mean, all of us have cars and cell phones, right? Well, once it shows signs of ill repair, how long do they really last? Until they finally and permanently pack up? Not long. It's by design. And the world financial system has been broken by design since its conception and inception. Anything that is designed, in my opinion, to feed the few and manage scavenging of the many is ill-conceived and bound to implode. And let's be honest, look around, the world imploding. For the critical it warrants a genuine look, right? Not a general. So when I looked blockchain and now obviously Web3,
Rather unfortunate, but this is a common occurrence with our South African colleagues. Load shedding and internet instability. Hopefully, we're getting back. Are you there, Faisal?
Re-emerging, in my opinion, as a key player in the innovation space that must happen before the true power of decentralizing your own banker, unleashing human creativity that will make the Renaissance periods pale in comparison. Cheap everything, right? Fees, cost of doing business, and yes, accessibility can be called anything close to sophisticated. In a large part, this depends on mass adoption, institutional adoption, and under-regulation. Well, not much hope there right now, for now, and of course, perpetual innovation. where the broken economy to humiliate themselves publicly by begging at street corners and shopping malls. The blockchain allows anyone, the big economy. I sort of coined that phrase. Where the broken enslavement base
Faisal, I don't know if you can hear us, but we're really having trouble with your signal.
You need to switch off your video. Well, Faisal does.
All right. I think we may have lost Faisal altogether now, so rather a pity.
So on. It can't be explained. It can't be. Do you need to say something, Ryan?
You're cutting in and out on your signal. Maybe you can turn the video off. Might be better. Turn the video off.
All right. Okay, give me a second. Okay. So if it can't be made relevant to the lowest common denominators in society, I don't want to touch it. Yep. As you can imagine, I have lost out on much. But somebody's got to uphold one's personal life philosophy, right? In South Africa, we have a term called Ubuntu, which basically means I derive my humanity from yours. But this law
Okay, great pity. As you can all hear, Faisal is an extremely articulate and intelligent orator and has a lot of very important things to say. So what we're going to have to do on this occasion, I think, is ask him to re-record his remarks separately, and we'll distribute his talk to everybody later. Just for consistency. What we wanted to talk about next was the Heroes Academy, and as some of you already know,
being captured in real time, being time-stamped.
Yeah, it's just not working right. Crazy. I'm going to invite Sarah. If you're with us, Sarah, can you hear us? To step in and talk about the Heroes Academy. Apologies for this. Just bear with us a second. I'm going to invite Sarah, who's the leader of our Heroes Academy in South Africa, to talk about that. And then we will go through the rest of the agenda. Sarah, are you there? Can you hear me? If you can accept the mic. No. Okay, then we will have to come back to our friends in South Africa. I'm going to play now for everyone a promotional video which we put together, which just kind of gives an overview of the Mpowa mission, vision, and our platform. Just while we wait for people to get back online.
We live in a world full of complexity and struggles. Our daily lives are shaped by our hopes, adversities, resilience, along with our youthful spirit. Our world has a number of profound, yet basic issues to solve that are fundamental to human existence. Dignity, clean water, clean electricity, health, and nutrition. We are Mpowa, an energetic startup company who are on a mission to provide access to clean technology solutions to vulnerable communities in the developing world. With your help, we intend to accelerate and improve access to clean water and energy to vulnerable communities in Africa, and by doing so, make a fundamental change to the quality of their lives. We will do this together with our clean technology partner companies and local NGO organizations, utilizing blockchain technology to facilitate decentralized governance and full transparency for project stakeholders. Mpowa's decentralized blockchain platform allows investors to invest in projects of impact, and even more importantly, with the trust between our investors to achieve the goals we all want to achieve, earning rewards such as carbon credits, and at the same time, feel good by doing good. We currently have 3 major projects lined up in Africa, along with our clean water partner, Solvatum. We need your support to fund these portable units for the communities in aid of their water challenges. Our flagship project is 1000 Smiles with Rotary Club in Uganda. Listen to what they have to say.
This is a community of people who have been affected by the not being safe. Their health and economy and all the other aspects of living and having a better life are all affected. Coming here with a solution of clean water is something that we as Rotary Club feel like is going to change up mindset and also the setup of this environment.
Each Silverton pilot project will deliver 500 units, saving approximately 1 metric ton of carbon per calendar year by eliminating the use of charcoal and firewood. These projects will save 2,500 tons of carbon with a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. There is more than carbon reduction. Multiple SDG core benefits are created by these projects due to the improvements to overall health and well-being in these communities. Through our emerging partnership with Rotary Club, we are developing sister water purification projects in Rwanda, South Africa, and other countries, and we will be publishing more details on these projects very soon. Our mission is to uplift, inspire, and empower a new generation of youth activists across the African continent, helping them with the tools they need to have greater and more sustainable impact.
Are going to regenerate even the income within the communities. We are also able to equip the youth in order to work and like the way the agriculture is being done, because it is done in a manner that they will understand. It's going to assist us in having them not being dependent on the situation that we see today.
Join us in this exciting journey and support us in providing a real impact across Africa. Let's create better opportunities for our generation on this planet, and let's make our world a greener place to live.
All right. I believe we have Faisal back online now, so I'm going to invite him to continue and hopefully finish his remarks, and then we can go on to the partners. Faisal, are you there? No. Okay. Then we will continue to the next section. I'm going to put up some slides now and invite, I believe, Jay from Carbon Code. Are you still with us, Jay?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Brilliant. The benefits of UK internet. 1 second. I'm just trying to find the slides, actually. Well, you stop. I'll find the slides while you're talking.
Yeah, no problem. There's only two, so there's not much to talk around. But yeah, I mean, this project is an honor to be part of. That video just shows sort of why we're all here, why we're all sort of, joining this project, and a little bit about Carbon Code. So we started the business back in 2020. The goal of helping startups and SMEs fulfill their goals. When I reached out to Ryan, I didn't realize how much of an impact that his idea and Jason's idea could have on the world. And as soon as we saw what Ryan was trying to do and what everyone's trying to do, we knew we had to be part of the project. So I had to sort of sit down with Ryan and Louis, my business partner. Got a good idea, and originally it was only supposed to be a code review, something to just a once over, a little glimpse, which then we knew we wanted to be part of this. So we eventually took over the back end development because we wanted this project to be as streamlined as possible. As Jason's demo depicted, it needs to be frictionless for people to invest in these projects because it needs to happen. And my partner is a keen investor in these sorts of projects, and we had the same questions. We're like, right, where is the money going? Where are we actually seeing results? How much of that money is getting to these projects? Where are the results? And as soon as we heard that blockchain was being utilized in a way to sort of hold accountability in those circumstances, we knew it was a project, and it was something. This was the project that sort of was our sort of North Star when we came up with our mission. And the more we worked on the project, the more we realized everything seemed to align. So we knew Jason's goals, we knew Ryan's goals. We were looking for a project to put our efforts in and know we're doing good, because the world's in a bit of a state, and as Faisal was saying, as a the bits I caught, inspirational words about how the economy is just built to break, and I don't want to be a part of that. So that's really what brought us on this journey, and we've only been on this journey probably the shortest time, and maybe a month has really opened my eyes to why Mpowa needs to happen and why we need to be a part of that. Kind of talked over. Yeah, kind of talked across both slides.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking from our point of view, it's been great working with you guys. As you know, we were, like a lot of startups, we were battling away with, with founder stress and with financial stress and with, trying to get things working, and it was causing a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah, we know the struggle, and that's why we completely pivoted our company quite early on to support founders in this situation, because we were there. So how can we support? And that's again one of those values that we share as two companies. We're there to help. We want to help. Obviously, your help is a lot more grander and a lot more needed, but it definitely the underlying ethos there was help, and that's the core of the journey.
Absolutely. And of course, the foundation has to be there, right? The engine has to be there in order for the things that we're trying to do as a business. So it's absolutely critical. Software company, the platform has to work. So you guys have done a great job. So thanks for all the hard work, and we'll be celebrating soon for sure.
Much appreciated. Thanks for the kind words.
Okay. I'd like to move next to some of our partner organizations. One of which is extremely well regarded and doing amazing work in Uganda, related to water access challenges in that country. Over to you, Tom. I'm going to put the slides over now.
Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate the invitation to come and speak at this event, and hello everyone. So I guess this is giving some of the practical examples of some of the types of grassroots projects that the Decarbonizer app will hopefully be sponsoring. So I'm Tom McClenachan. I'm one of the co-founders and executive director of the charity Aqua Uganda. By day, I'm also one of the lead policy advisors to the UK government on climate change, with a focus actually on digitization of monitoring of emissions. So for me, it's all quite interrelated. So Equal Aqua's mission, as the name suggests, is trying to provide equal access to water, sanitation and hygiene facilities in Uganda, while also looking at other intersecting issues around the environment and gender education and other such things. So being one of the principal partners of Mpowa is a particularly exciting opportunity for a charity like us because it sort of helps bridge that investment gap, particularly in the realities of UK funding that's available at the moment. So it's well known that the UK government has slashed its international aid budget, but it's particularly sort of a large impact on the WASH sector, which is total funding is reduced by over 83%. So we're hoping that this will enable us to generate that income and to connect us with potential investors. So go to the next slide, please, Ryan. I'll give just a bit of an example of the issue that we're trying to solve. If we can go to the next slide, please, Ryan. So effectively, we're trying to tackle the issue of water inequality, or WASH, as it's known. I'm still seeing the same slide. I don't know if it's there's obviously a bit of lag there. So yeah, slide 12, thank you. As I say, this is the issue that we're trying to solve. So we're trying to break down some of the inequalities that people in Uganda face in access to WASH. So individual and collective inequalities such as gender, education, income, social status, so things like refugees, and also geographic status, while also, sort of establishing those links to other sustainable development goals. So while we focus on SDG 6, clean water and sanitation for all, we're also acutely aware of how water often is the root cause of several other different inequalities or other development issues. So if we can go to slide 13, please, Ryan, the next one, just to give you some stats and figures from Uganda itself. So over half of the population lacks access to safe and sustainable water. And the burden of carrying this water, often considerably long distances, is literally carried by women and girls in most instances, taking up to an average of 2 hours per day. So this is time that could or should be spent in school, working, or in employment. And it has massive impacts, detrimental impacts on education, health, and livelihood opportunities. So this is very much focus of Equal Aqua's work. On the next slide, you'll be able to see that we're not only interested just in water, but in its intersections with climate change as well. So myself and Peace, who's a member of our Uganda team, were invited to speak at COP26 to talk about some of the realities within Uganda, which is one of the countries that's right on the forefront of climate change, both seeing the impacts in terms of droughts. It's particularly evident in neighbouring Kenya at the moment, but also flooding, which is particularly rife in eastern Uganda, which is the area in which we work in as well. So, a lot of our programs trying to address some of the root causes of this issue by reducing emissions, but also doing tree planting and things that improve sort of drive carbon reductions or carbon sequestration. On the next slide, you'll see composition as our team as it currently stands. So we're an international NGO. We're a registered UK charity and we're a registered community-based organisation in Uganda. But in reality, we operate equally as one NGO. One of the principal philosophies behind how we work as an organisation, I think something that gives us a good degree of legitimacy that hopefully make us appealing to the users of the Decarbonizer app, is that all of our projects are completely driven by our Ugandan team. So our Ugandan team come up with the vision, the mission, the projects, decide the beneficiaries, what we should be doing, where and why. And the UK, or really we're now a global team, are sort of the business or really the bureaucrats behind that to try and make that vision a reality. So on the next slide, you'll start to see, I think, a map of where we work in Uganda. So as I said, we're predominantly focused in a region called Bukedia district in eastern Uganda, close to the border with Kenya, but we also work throughout the whole country, including refugee camps in the north, where you see a lot of refugees coming from South Sudan, and more refugee camps in the west, which are getting a huge increase of refugees fleeing the Democratic Republic of Congo, and an increasing number of refugees who are moving because of the impacts of the climate emergency as well. So, as Ryan said, with the views of sort of transparency and being able to monitor projects on the ground, we have the ability to zoom in on this map, and you can see our projects being delivered at communities that are benefiting directly from them. So moving on to the next slide, I'll just give you 3 examples of some of the specific projects that we deliver. So one of them is our eco-brick tanks. So these are rainwater harvesting tanks that we build for schools and other forms of community centres. So these water tanks are built using eco-bricks, and eco-bricks are recycled or upcycled plastic bottles that would usually be burned. In the context of Uganda, there is no recycling or waste management for that context. And we fill these bottles with sand or other recycled plastic and use them as bricks. They're stronger and cheaper than conventional bricks. That enables us to create these water tanks holding 10 litres of water, which provide a reserve for schools, and it tackles that need of that dangerous and time and effective journey to collect water as well. We tend to focus our activities on schools, and we have developed a sponsor a school program that provides a water tank, along with, as you'll see on the next slide, our workshops that we deliver for the students and local communities. So we teach practical skills relating to water, sanitation, hygiene, things like liquid soap, shampoo, and making Vaseline, as well as reusable sanitary pads. And the idea is that people can either use these to support their families or their communities, or ideally turn them into business opportunities, especially useful in the context of COVID the last few years, where unemployment has taken a huge hit. And then the final program that I'll describe is our menstrual hygiene program, which, working with schools predominantly and wider communities as well, where we start community dialogues and run a curriculum that tries to break down some of the taboos around menstrual hygiene, that supports young girls to stay in schools for longer. And as part of this program, we also teach practical skills such as making reusable sanitary pads. So, as I said, excited to be part of this project, and happy to answer any questions on any of those programs. And really delighted to see where we can take it. So, thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Tom. Great again to be working with you guys, and really hopeful we can get some first projects off the ground very soon. Now that we have the app up and running, we're going into this outreach. We're campaign to drive customers and traction onto the platform. So we're looking forward in the next month or two to bringing some finance to the party. And I think we have Faisal back. Faisal, put your hand up if you have access to mic now. Yep.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can. So take it away, and please finish what you were saying before about the blockchain and crypto and all the things, the essential ingredient here, which is empowering this ecosystem.
Yeah, I think the last point I was trying to make is, what's the actual value of this in the greater societal context, right? So, and I was saying, I don't know how many of you have heard of the blockchain's immutability and incorruptibility. Now, imagine for a moment, if you will, evidence being captured in real time, time-stamped, being directly stored on the blockchain. Powerful, right? So while our communities are bringing thugs to book, the victims get a chance to be victorious too, to triumph over their abusers in front of everyone, and so inspire the growing roar of the African lionesses who find their own voices in hers. We at Mpowa, we are crazy people. We look at the world, in particular the broken parts, right? And we think, what can we do to help alleviate some of the pain, some of the suffering? So with this app, we will obviously help bring many rural and urban African communities and beyond Africa into the carbon finance space by developing areas, infrastructure projects in a planet-friendly manner. These types of projects bring energy and resources sovereignty, food and nutrition sovereignty, health and wellness sovereignty. It also brings a tool to deal with all forms of abuse and violence against the most vulnerable in our communities, women, children, the elderly. So one could easily be mistaking Mpowa for a clean tech energy company, which we are not, but we are also one. Or as a blockchain company, also not as simple as that, but we are also one. We are also not an agricultural enterprise, but we are also one. We're not simply another economic upliftment company, but we also uplift communities economically by tapping into their innate creativity and tokenizing specific clean tech attached to their houses, their communities, and infrastructure, and so on. So we're not a social and or personal development venture either, but we also look through this app to engineer really a range of interventions that will allow victims of abuse to reintegrate themselves into domestic and community-based self-empowerment structures and processes through the Mpowa Academy, for instance, complete with restoring individual sovereignty of thought, words and accents, self-defense classes, designing and developing NFTs and nutrition self-sufficiency. Women and children in particular, they flourish in safe, secure, non-threatening environments, right? Because they can confidently claim their bodily integrity, speak without fear, and inspire a spiral of irrepressible strength. This is what the patriarchy fears. And it's about time, isn't it? I think it is more apt, more correct to say that we're a healing company and we set bold goals for ourselves. Mpowa is really looking to change the world together with others for ordinary people, where they live. I am reminded of the song, We Are the World, and I'd like to invite you to help us help them. Come on already. Let's go and change the world. I'd say 1 million downloads in the first 9 to 12 months of the final app version is a pretty solid start. Don't you think? And in ending off, allow me to pay homage to a great man, Ryan Lavelle, CEO and founder of Mpowa. Without those whose unshakable drive to succeed, none of this would be here now. I wouldn't call him any of these things, but all of them. Visionary, revolutionary, workaholic, brainiac, thought leader, tribal leader, lover of people, brother and father to me. You may not call him a legend now, but soon you will. And in thanking him for his stubborn persistence, I also salute the impeccable team he's managed to assemble alongside him and the unimaginably huge partnerships, whether it's upstream in funding and tech partners or it's downstream in project partners. I mean, you were just listening to Tom, right? These are real people, real organizations, and they have a real dream and desire to change the world. And we are walking beside all of these giants to change the world. But in thanking him for his stubborn persistence, I salute also the team he's managed to, I salute because I always make a point of elevating the heroes and heroines of Mpowa, called our Wakanda warriors, without whom this app would just be an app on a smartphone. But with them, it becomes part of the armory with which we defend the integrity of our planet and the freedoms of our people. Thank you. That's my bit.
Well, I've just got a few goosebumps here. Faisal, quite humbled by your words. This is no small part to people like you that I've stuck at this, and I want to thank you for also being there and keeping it all together in those long dark nights when startups where you had enough and you want to stop, but then I'll have a conversation with Faisal and I'll pick myself up again. So it's it is an honor, privilege to be doing this, and I'm just determined to see it go over the line. So that's a great speech. Thank you so much. And I think it's also a brilliant segue over to Claire from Claire Cares Foundation Nigeria, one of our recent joiners to the platform, and a lady who's very passionate about this issue of gender violence and other social issues. Over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Ryan. So I'm talking on Stop the Abuse campaign. I'd love to say thanks to Faisal, to Ryan, just so you know that Faisal is always working behind the scene with me, and he's been really encouraging. Thank you so much, Faisal. Okay, so for stealthy abuse campaign, I'm very passionate about it, like you said, and I do a lot of stuff here in Nigeria. I did a short film titled Arima. So the excerpt you see, the picture you see there is from the short film I did titled Arima. Hopefully, I get to share the link with you someday. And so I'm particular about helping ladies, young girls, women, to basically fight their cause. And being a part of the Wakanda movement has been really amazing. It has opened my eyes and given me, the power and the strength to even want to do more, knowing that I have people behind me who can help me work on this. Now, when I met you, Ryan, and you spoke to me about the Decarbonizer app, it was a very good one. I mean, I was really impressed and really happy about it. I'm like, oh yes, finally help has come to us. So I live in Lagos in Nigeria, and as much as it's a city, it would amaze you to know that there are extremely poor places in my city. And Lagos is supposed to be one of the biggest cities in Nigeria after Ibadan. And it's just so sad that a lot of people are not enlightened, especially when it comes to violence. Women want to stay back. They want to stay because they have no hope of what happens next when they leave the family, when they leave their husbands. They care about the children, so they don't want to leave. They're scared of what happens the next day. So there's just a lot of things that they go through, and there is no one speaking up for them. Now, sometimes most of them are not even enlightened to understand that there are certain departments in Lagos State that deals strictly with violence or abuse from spouses. So you go to the wrong hands, you go to the police, and these people are not trained specifically for this kind of vices. So you go there, and of course, they treat you in a criminal way, even when you are being hurt. Do you understand? So, but there are departments, there are units in Lagos State that strictly handles abuse from men or women, whatever the case may be. So we still need a lot to do by trying to empower them, by trying to enlighten them, by trying to educate them, and make them understand that if they come up to speak up, they would be helping themselves and helping the children and also helping the state and the people at large. All right. So it's easier to say leave an abusive marriage. It's easier to say, oh, what are you doing with your husband? What are you doing with this person who continuously hurts you? But the question is, if they leave, what is next? What's the way forward for them? And then sometimes these things happen. They want to report, but they are scared. They don't even know how to go about it. Now this app is going to help give the police or whoever it is that will handle the case all the biometrics and information that they need to work on these people. So I'm already organizing a community in Ayobo. It's also in Lagos State, far off Lagos, but close to another state called Ogun State. And I've gone first step to speak with the elders, because here we deal more with elders than we deal with the law enforcement agencies. So you need to get authorization from the elders who would easily speak with their people in the community and let them understand in their dialect or in their language that, hey, so we have plans on not just working on the women who are being abused, but also bringing their children close to understand the effect of the abuse on their mothers and on them. Now, it will be easy for us to also gather these children, get them something to do, teach them skills, give them things to work with. People who are interested in football, we can have that work for them. People who need to learn handwork, lip gloss, school bags, soaps, a lot of people will buy, so they need to learn. Now, when you engage these children, the mothers know, yes, okay, so my children are safe, and if anything happens, there's something to fall back on. So now you have already, brought their attention by trying to make sure that there are things ready for their kids to, work with. And then you gradually introduce, this system we're trying to bring in. You try to introduce to them solutions. Now, in every community, there are one or two people or women who are strong-hearted, people who stand in for other women, people who say, no, you can't touch this woman again. So we have to also have a peer-to-peer education with these women, one or two of them, to say, okay, we need you to organize community talks with these women. once in a while, once a week or once a month or twice a month, go to these houses and check on the women and be sure that, after what we had with them, the training we had with them, they still did not go back, staying in that same place that, is giving them so much pain. I understand they also need a safe home, which would be, a later project that would be worked on. So we need a safe home to treat them if they're injuries, bruises, and all of that, and also have them for a while they get to learn skills and all of that. Now, the Decarbonizer app will be good for them. Of course, they have to learn how to use. Most of them might not be using WhatsApp-enabled phones or phones that would use apps, but at least a few of them can use it and help one or two of them who would need that help. And then we also would introduce law enforcement agencies within the place to take care of the situation. So we use the app and then we understand, okay, this is what happened, this is who we're dealing with, this is what we should do. And, and then it just goes on and on. And if we're able to finish with that community, we move to the next community. And before you know it, in a particular area, these people are already strong enough to stand and say, okay, yes, we know what is wrong and we're standing for what is wrong and we're speaking up and enough is enough. We're stopping this abuse right now. So this is what we intend to do, but we've been doing it small scale. But now, with joining Mpowa and being a Wakanda, being a Wakanda member, I think it will be a really good one for me to enlarge my coast and what else? I'll make a difference, basically. So I'm really glad to be part of the movement, and I'm happy to say enough is enough, and we're ready to start the abuse campaign, and then stop the abuse right now. Thank you.
Awesome, inspiring as always, Claire. It's really a pleasure to have you on the team, and keep up the good work there in Nigeria for all the ladies. I know it's only one string in the bow. You do a lot more than this. Claire's being very shy. She actually was a TV star as well, and she has other things she does with the foundation. But I think this particular aspect of the collaboration with Mpowa is very strong. So I'm looking forward to hopefully winning competitions together soon as well, and with her support. So yeah, onwards and upwards. The final major presentation is to kind of top and tail this. We've heard a lot about the sort of, let's say, the ideas we have, things we want to do, but of course, to do these things in the real world requires a lot of clout. It requires resources. And early on in the game last year, I was thinking a lot about how to develop our financial ecosystem, let's say, as a platform, and I looked at a lot of what people are doing in the crypto space, and there's a complex area, there's a lot of regulatory challenges, and I was coming from a risk management, technology, finance background myself. I was very conscious of stepping through that minefield, let's say, and avoiding Mpowa becoming either sort of viewed skeptically as a crypto Ponzi scheme, or getting in trouble with the regulators, or indeed having to go down the fintech route ourselves, and getting sort of snarled up for years in long, complex discussions with the financial regulators. And as I went along that journey and sort of looked around the market, I came across scaling funds, and sort of took a look at it, and I was impressed with what they've done, and it looked like a potential great fit to help Mpowa take our sort of ecosystem to a larger scale as we go forward. So I'd like to invite now our partner Peter Wilson from Scaling Funds to talk a bit about what they do and where that fits with Mpowa. Over to you, Peter.
Thanks, Ryan. Always difficult with the graveyard shift, but I will endeavour to try and make this as entertaining, as informative as possible. Just to give you a feel for who Scaling Funds are, we are in essence an enterprise software entity that is disrupting the rather stuffy and paper-based and painful alternative investment world, the same as many other entities are doing in the crypto space, etc., using blockchain technology and using distributed-led technology. I think obviously we had the somewhat history lesson from Faisal earlier, talking about the origination of ledgers and how that has progressed. But literally in the in the investment world, very little in the alternative space has progressed in the last 20 years, and it's prime for disruptive technology to be introduced to make things a lot easier, a lot more seamless, remove all of the friction, and to actually encourage investors to move into invest ideas, opportunities that they wouldn't normally discover and they wouldn't normally commit to. And this is really where we are, very happy to be working with Ryan and the Mpowa team. As we progress with conversations with the likes of PwC, with Deloitte, with the Ernst & Youngs. What you see today compared to 3 or 4 years ago is they have dedicated digital asset teams that are there and generating an awful lot of revenue and interest as they have private banks, institutional investors, pension funds who are really focused on the SDG goals and on investment opportunities that can enable them to deploy capital. And when I say deploy capital, we're talking tens of millions. We're not talking, a few tens of thousands that individual investors can possibly provide, but tens of millions that really enable entities to deploy that capital and to, in essence, help a lot of the projects that we've heard about earlier in the call actually come to life. Because as Ryan mentioned, without actually having that deployment of capital, then a lot of these, extremely worthwhile projects do not get off the ground. So it's that engagement with investors that really is going to drive this proposition forward. As Ryan said, it can be a minefield in the regulatory space. And that's really where the 70, 80 years worth of experience within our team of dealing from a legal side, dealing from an investment banking side, dealing with the regulators who are somewhat slow to move forward and to understand the evolution of digital assets and DLT and blockchain. But you will see through the slides some of the regulators that we're dealing with. Some of these entities, we're talking about areas that have trillions and trillions of dollars committed to them. But our process is really to make the whole process for Mpowa easy, simple, and to ensure that they're going and moving in the right direction. And in essence, we project manage the proposition for them, whilst at the same time, as the Decarbonizer that you saw a demonstration of earlier is making life easier for individuals, you want to make institutional investors to access these ideas, and deploy capital into these funds. So we have a whole enterprise technology set up that literally takes out all of the friction, all of the issues, and makes it much more simple for them to actually deploy capital into the large fund for Mpowa. So in essence, we are extremely honoured to have been selected to help take this project forward. Our job is really to ensure that everything in the background, works correctly, enables Ryan and the team to have, really engaging conversations with potential investors, but then really make sure that it's as seamless and as easy as possible for those investors to actually get money into the funds so that the teams can then deploy those into the worthwhile projects that everybody's spoken about this evening. We can skip that one, Ryan.
Awesome. And I know that you've got a lot more in-depth IP that we could talk about for hours, because the guys at Scaling Funds are brilliant at what they do, and I'm really impressed with the team and the platform they're putting together. I know it's gonna really take the fund management world by storm. So I'm pleased to be an early adopter, and also adding let's say an ESG dimension to what Scaling Funds are doing. So yeah, we got a lot of work to do on our side to move our fund launch project forward. Focus really has been heavily on the Decarbonizer product the last 6 months, and next phase is going to be on getting the fund launch on the rails and
no indeed
our investors.
as they say, from small acorns grow mighty oak trees. So I think we're on the beginning of a journey, and the conversations we've had, there's slow but sure adoption of technology and DLT and blockchain in the investment community. And I think that's only going to progress over the coming months and years. So it's brave to be an early adopter, but I think obviously what you guys are doing in the Decarbonizer element only makes sense to replicate it in the fund proposition in the background.
Absolutely. Thank you, Peter. So that brings us almost to the end, but I would like to give the final words to our Wakanda heroine coordinator, Sarah, who runs the Heroes Academy there from South Africa. Over to you, Sarah. You're still muted.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's great to be here again. It's been an interesting journey so far. Ryan has been on my case to get things done as swiftly as possible. So I'm just quickly going to share some slides with you. Okay, let me see. So with the Mpowa Heroes Academy, what the Heroes Academy is about is to ensure that the heroes in various countries, they receive the necessary training, and when funding is available, how they are going to be using the funds, how they'll be using the funds, and monitoring and evaluation that will be happening. So problem are we addressing as a Heroes Academy? So more often in Africa specifically, you realize that most projects are stopped, they are halted or abandoned because of lack of funds, or funds are released, but you realize that they become ghost projects, or some projects are being overpriced by the program managers or those in charge of these projects. So with the Heroes Academy, we are here to form a structure, and also with this structure and organization, make sure that we are able to, secure funding in order to fund these projects. So, forgive me. So after we have the funding available, to ensure that there is project continuity, there should be monitoring and evaluation. So we have some of the projects which are done by individuals themselves. They own the projects, but we are more or less partnering with them in order to help secure funding. And with the availability of the Decarbonizer app, we'll be able to trace and monitor these projects. So some of the projects that we have, just like Claire mentioned, is the Stop Abuse campaign. We have Equal Aqua in Uganda for the clean water and sanitation project. We also do have the regenerative agriculture, reforestation, and also public health advocacy. And with Mpowa, if we are giving them the training, we must also ensure that their mental health, in terms of, the heroes, in terms of the work that they do, sometimes they might encounter some challenges. They are dealing with people. So are we able to provide them the tactical and technical support that they need? We have our partner Mpowa Academy, who will be with us to take the heroes through that cognitive aspect of it. So we are prepared, we've braced ourselves, and we've put in place measures to secure funding with the Decarbonizer app in place. Once funding is available, we have a training manual whereby we will take the heroes through. We will show them how they are supposed to record their project, or how they are to communicate with people or investors, potential investors on a certain level to fund the projects at the local stage. So that is what the Heroes Academy is seeking to do. Hello?
Thank you, Sarah, for those words. And I know you've been doing a lot of work there on the ground, putting this academy together. And we're looking forward to operationalizing things and getting more intake of heroes into the program once it's been, once the kinks have been ironed out, let's say. We do have also Martha on the list tonight. I'd like to invite Martha, maybe if you want to say a few words before we wrap everything up here, because it's getting on. Are you there, Martha? Hello, Martha. No. Sorry about this. This is the bane of live events. What I can do is I'd like to just share something with you all to close the meeting. The following picture is a painting that was commissioned in Uganda by an artist that Martha identified, and this is artwork that we're creating and commissioning as part of the the Kickstart NFT campaign, which is going to go live fairly soon once we've identified the correct ecosystem to launch our Kickstart NFTs on. We're in conversations with a couple of different partners about this, and the idea is we create bespoke artwork. Each Kickstart NFT has physical artwork attached to the token as as a sort of a gift to the purchaser. And there are a number of other benefits in the Kickstart NFT. We're creating kind of effectively a private members club, which is sort of a think tank, an early adopters think tank, aimed at sort of leaders of sustainability in companies, who will sort of join us in a metaverse, meet once a month, and contribute ideas, discuss ideas with the founding team, with the heroes, all about the projects. So that's an example of what we're going to be doing as this starts to roll out. I think you'll all agree it's very beautiful and inspiring. So I don't know if Martha, you're able to say any words there, but I'll give you another minute. If not, then it's been a great event. I want to thank everybody for your time. Thanks to all the speakers, and thanks, of course, to everyone in the team who's made this possible. I wish you all a fantastic Friday evening, a great weekend, and lots more to do. But this is the beginning of a great, great next phase in the evolution of Mpowa. So, best wishes.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
guys.
Great stuff.
Have a great
See you on the
weekend.
flip side. Catch you on the flip side.